Hi, everybody. This is Mia from Travelpreneur Tribe, and I am here today with Shlomo, who is a mentor, a speaker, and a founder of Financial Self. And he is helping entrepreneurs realizing their financial goals by reaching their financial freedom. So, we're going to be talking a lot about finances today. So, if you're tuned in, if you have your business and not sure what to do with your finances or how to improve them, you're at the right place. So I'm going to have Shlomo introduce himself a little bit, tell him about him, his background, and how he really got started with where he is right now. So welcome, Shlomo.
Hello, Mia. Great being here. Thank you for inviting.
Of course.
My brief history, let's say that I'm an entrepreneur for the past 15 years or so. And I've been involved for many years with businesses in China. I have a business there which is not related to Free Financial Self. And up to about a year ago, no, more than a year ago, I opened Free Financial Self, which is my financial mentorship business. I've been doing a lot of things with internet marketing over the years. Doing a lot of startups, different ideas, but truly my passion is personal finance. I've been really interested in this since I was really very, very, very little. So it's time to build your passion. That's where I'm at right now.
Okay, how exciting. I wish I was that excited about the finances.
I
feel
admit
like
it
for
has
me,
its
it's always
difficulties.
like
I
a
agree.
struggle. Sorry?
I agree. It has its difficulties.
Yeah. I bet you have a lot of clients that tell you the same thing.
Yeah, it's never a priority. And then when people wake up after X amount of years, it's like making a change is very, very hard. And by that time, your life quality would be deeply influenced by the wrong choices that you made. So it's better to start as early as possible.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you would like really recommend to people like that are just starting? What are some of the things that they really need to like have to get started and to really be on a good track?
So when I'm speaking with clients, I usually talk about a roadmap, because our finances are not really just the finances. I'm looking at finances in a holistic way, at the way that we want to live, how we want to live, where we want to reach, and from that we understand our finances. So if you look at that roadmap, the first thing that you have to do is really complete your financial education. And I'm not talking about university degree. I'm talking about a few basic terms that you should know about, just so you can measure things and understand where you're at. That's the first step. That's really, really important.
So what are some of those terms like?
These would be defining your net worth goal. So what is net worth? How do you calculate this? It will be compounding interest. It would be understanding how compounding interest can help you really leverage your finances to really get your financial freedom and have really better lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the core of the things. And there isn't really a lot of things you need to know to start. Okay, these are there are a few basic things, and you can build up on them. So this is the first element in this roadmap. But as I said, it's really more of a holistic approach. It's not only the numbers. Okay, so the next step on that roadmap would be going for understanding what your future lifestyle look like. So if you're talking to the travelpreneur community, these would probably be digital nomads all over the place. But then depends where they want to spend more time. Do they want to stay in in New York for the rest of their lives, or they want to be in Thailand for the rest of their lives, or maybe the majority of their lives. So that would obviously say what kind of finances they should have for the future.
Mm-hmm.
So this is part of designing the lifestyle, basically. Then I get again to the more of the numbers part, which is the getting to control your finances, control your numbers. It's gathering all your financial information together, putting it in a nice table, and don't be afraid of it. It's okay. And realizing where you can optimize it, what you can do better, budgeting, bringing all these things together. And from taking your desired design lifestyle and controlling your numbers and all these numbers, then you create a plan of what you need to do next, the next 1 year, 5 years, 30 years. It's a plan that you can then adjust to however you need, but you need that plan to know where you're at right now, basically.
Yeah. How do you do it? Do you have an Excel or do you use some tools to gather that?
So I use a lot of I use an Excel. I use Google Sheets. Um, the basic one that I use and I do every month is something to calculate my net worth. This helps me to really understand where I'm at towards my financial freedom. So I have the definition of where I want to get. And then I have different assets that I have. And then I just watch them over every month and understand what's working, what's not working, what's up, what's down. And after you do this for a few months, you start to get a picture of how things work.
So basically, it sounds like this is like really like a monthly process. Like you need to be on top of it. You need to like schedule yourself and make sure that like at least like once a month you go in, you update everything, and that you always have a current view of basically where you are.
Yes, the ongoing thing is a monthly thing, but there is always a process of optimizing it. I mean, just last month I decided I'm going to go over all my life insurances and health insurance, and I realized that I'm paying double, so I stopped that. Even going for my internet bill and looking for better deals, then you save a few bucks. I mean, and that's very significant. Even I mean, the longer term, even like a few bucks really makes a difference. Um, so it's not only the monthly thing is the most important, but there is always this mindset that you have to keep of I can still improve. Let's see how.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. I actually personally I use Mint for that. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you heard it, but I have used Excel, and I still use Excel to get kind of like I guess that I can model it and like see different options, like if this, then that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I definitely use Excel for that. But one of the things that's for me personally is I don't want to keep track of like every transaction that I do. So I find like having a tool that does
Mm-hmm.
that for me, and then I have all of that data, and then I can play around with. That's really important for me.
I totally agree with you with two distinctions. One is that when you start, it's actually important to do it manual just to get in the rhythm and really understand where you're at. For now, I also use automatic tool, but the problem is that Mint works for Americans and maybe for Canadians, and it doesn't
Mm,
work for other people. And as an Israeli, I have no, there are other solutions out there that actually take your bank accounts and connect, but they're also not fully compatible to everything, at least in Israel. And I'm sure that other countries have this problem as well. So if you're, and I agree, fintech in the US is very advanced, but it doesn't work
yeah.
everywhere.
Uh, yeah, I didn't know. It works here, so pretty
No, I
neat.
wish I could use that. I agree, but I can't.
Yeah.
I agree.
Good. So let me just understand that roadmap a little better, right? So, like, let's say you start working with somebody, right? how does that work? Like, what are some of the steps besides, like obviously looking into like what you currently have, like seeing, what's your net worth? How do you go about like, excuse me, about like reaching their goals? What are some of the other things that you do with your clients?
So I chose to put on the roadmap the life design first before the numbers. I mean, there is the knowledge part and then there is the life design part, because I think it's so important to really realize this before you're actually getting to those numbers. And many people have no idea where they want to go, and they kind of maybe have a vague idea, but not even. Some people don't even think for, I don't know, the next week. So because you don't have a goal, you don't know where you're going, so you also can't measure where you're at. That's the problem. So I'm working with them on this to really think hard. Let's say their perfect day, or fun activities or things that they like to do, and how would an ideal day would look, and how would that incorporate in such a day. Now, the interesting thing is that many people do what they like um, already when they're not financially free, when they're not rich. Sometimes we just anticipate for something which never comes, and we actually want to have the same lives. We just want to have more money at the bank, and that's okay. But you can still be satisfied with what you have, with what you currently have, and not thinking like, if this and this happens, then I'll be happier. No, happiness is now, and life is now, and you should really use whatever you can now. That's okay.
Yeah. I also think one of the things that I've actually heard, people comparing is like the rich versus like the new rich, right? So like your regular rich, like if you think, like let's say I'm in the United States, like the American dream being rich, it's like having millions of dollars and driving a Porsche and owning a house somewhere, upstate or whatever, For that, obviously, yes, you do need to be a millionaire, right? But the phrase like the new rich, it's basically, like you don't need to have $1 million to like travel around the world if that's what you want, right? You just need to find like, okay, how much do I need to travel like 3 months in Southeast Asia? Well, probably you don't even need $5,000, right? So when you look at it in such a way, it seems much more achievable and much more realistic than having a dream where you're working to buy a $5 million house that
That's
nobody's
really
ever
a
going to
headache
live
for
in.
me. That's really a headache. Like, why do I need a $5 million house or a Porsche? If I'd like to drive a Porsche, I'll rent a Porsche for a week. That would cost less, and I'll have the experience.
Exactly, yeah. So
Yeah, I totally agree on that. Totally agree.
okay, good. So then from our conversations, one of the things that you also mentioned is that some entrepreneurs and people starting their businesses, even before they start, they really have like a destructive mindset, right? Where because of it, they either can move forward with their business or they're kind of stuck with where they are right now. So, can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So entrepreneurs, on general, are might be great with their company's finances, but they really suck with their personal finances. And this comes, it's distilled into those two destructive mindsets that you mentioned. One is, I'm building my company. It's going to be a multi-million-dollar company. So dealing with my personal finances right now is really a non-issue because I'm going to make my exit and everything will be fine. Hint, 99.99% of the entrepreneurs don't make it. And it's not that I don't want people to make it. It's just that it statistically doesn't happen. So you need to get ready for that and be prepared. So you do need to get ready for your to take care of your personal finances, even if you are an entrepreneur who was about to make a multi-million-dollar company. Because then, even if you fail, at least you won't be back to square zero, but you'll be back, I don't know, to square whatever. It's just not going backwards, but still going forward. And also, you'll be much more ready for your next company, because again, you won't be bankrupt. You still have money.
Mm-hmm.
The other destructive mindset is entrepreneurs who are saying, I'm too poor, so I really don't have money to save. I don't have money to invest. So it's like, what do you want? What do you want me to do? And I mentioned earlier now that, the sooner you start, the better, because of this compounding, your money compounding for you. So time here is so important. So even if you start really, really small with the nothing that you have, and start, first of all, learning about this, and then saving and investing, even if it's just a little, that can be a huge amount over 30, 40, 50 years of doing this, even if these are small amounts. So this is why starting early is important. So don't have this mindset of, I'm too poor, I only have this $5 to do extra. So do it with $5, okay? Just to get in the habit. Don't postpone it for when I'll be ready. You'll never be ready.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are the two. And this is what entrepreneurs have. I found it that their personal finances is somewhere in the back burner, where like we're going to take care of it sometime, somehow. And
On its own, magic is gonna happen.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. No magic here.
No magic. Yeah, it's a hard work, but yes, even speaking a lot to like other business coaches, that are coming from like different backgrounds than the finances, right? I mean, obviously you're coming at, from a financial point of view, but also others are coming, from like the other limiting beliefs, not only, oh, I don't have any money to start the business, but oh, I don't have any knowledge to start the business, or I've never started the business. I don't know what I need to do, right? And those, for me, personally, those all fit into that same category, where it's really so important for a person to overcome those mindsets, those limiting beliefs of what it means to start your business, have your business, run your business. And once when you're really clear on that, and when you do have like some really like strong foundations, right? Like when it comes to your money, so like, okay, I have like 5,000, but I know I can only spend 2 out of it, and really, have that knowledge before starting. I think it's really important to have a successful business down the line.
I actually think that most of the knowledge for entrepreneurs comes from keep moving forward and keep learning from what you're doing. Because you learn the most by doing, and the knowledge part, yes, you need to know something, but you'll never know everything. So just learn something and then implement, and then learn from it, and then learn another thing, and then again implement, but keep moving forward. And you'll make the mistakes, and that's fine, but you learn from them, and you'll be better. You'll get better, either with your business or your finances.
Yeah, just keep on moving, don't stop.
Keep on moving.
Okay, so moving on, I know we talked like before we had our call, right, about some of the lists that usually entrepreneurs need versus want when it comes to finances. So what are some of your takeaways on that?
So people have this I mean, when we're thinking about our finances and we're starting to list this, so it's like, I need this, and I need this, and I need this, and I need this, and all these needs. And when you are really thinking hard about those, these are really not needs. These are more wants. There are very few needs for people. People can live on very little. Okay, so it's like the worst case scenario. Let's call it this way. Now, I'm not saying that you should really, live in poverty, but you should be reasonable. But the things that you want versus need, and if you understand that most of them are wants, and then you'll think, do I really want that? I think that most of the cases you'll say, probably not, and that would also save you a lot of money coming up with your finances. With all those numbers that I mentioned. To really put things out of your budget. You really don't need them. Just like you said, you really don't need a big house, but that's obviously clear for you and me, but maybe not for other people. But I'm also talking about things, going to shopping sprees and things like that, whatever.
Yeah.
It's really not necessary for most people. These are wants, these are not needs. So, and some people just see their wants as needs. I really need
As
this.
me.
No, you don't. No, you really don't. So yeah, think hard through this.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Actually, this is one of the things that was a big one for me personally, because I feel I made a lot of progress in that. I mean, living in the US, especially living in New York, I mean, you're just like, like surrounded by this, shopomania, and everybody around you are there's just such a pressure to buy everything, that you need, that you want, or whatever. But I really like step back out of it, and maybe like a little to like a different extreme, that right now, like I feel like there's nothing that I need anymore. So like shopping is completely done. But I actually just want to sell all of my things. So
Yeah.
like, I'm like always like on Craigslist, and I'm like, well, I don't really need like this little decoration. Like, let me sell it for $5. And my friends are like, oh my God, are you going to spend your time like to put it on? And I'm like, you know what? I feel it's more energy. It's not necessarily that $5, that I'm going to make, right? It's the energy of, well, I'm making money from something that I really don't need in my life. And it just gives me like such a positive energy, where I'm
Uh-huh.
definitely cutting down on buying of the things that I strictly
Mm-hmm.
want, but it all also like keeps me more conscious about all of the things that I already have and that I really don't need. So
Mm-hmm. I got to tell you something. So an average once a year, my wife and I, and we have a 3-year-old, we go on a workation somewhere. So we're about to go to Sri Lanka, as an example. And we live in a small yurt in a small town in Israel right now. But on those occasions, we just pack our things, it's not a suitcase, it's a backpack, okay? Like 2 backpacks. And then after a month, 2, 3, we're back home with a really not a huge home, okay? And we don't have a lot of things there. And then I'm asking myself, what's around here? And there isn't a lot there. And still I'm thinking, like, we really don't need that.
need that.
I just need a backpack. I
Yeah.
just need a backpack.
That would be a dream come true. I watched like a lot of like those minimalist shows, and
Uh-huh.
I would love it. But right now, probably for this lifestyle, yes, I think it would be like a push. But I really admire people, that can live minimalistically, through their finances, through their things that they own, and it's really a mindset, because you
Yeah.
don't need it. You don't need it.
No, when I'm coming back from there, I know exactly what my needs, what my wants. That just what you told me. I
Yeah.
know very well.
Okay. So, Shlomo, what are some of the things? I mean, I know you have your business for a while, and like you actually had other businesses as well, so you definitely have a lot of experience starting businesses. What do you feel? What have you struggled the most, either with this business or with the previous? And what are some of the advice that you have for others that are just starting out?
So I'll refer to my other business because it runs for a longer time. So I think it's more legible. so what happens there is that I found clients fairly fast. Okay, so that was surprising for me because I validated the idea pretty fast. What the company does is that we help foreign apps distribute in the Chinese market because the market there is very different. So you need a help or a service from somebody who knows the market. And then instead of distributing your app only to Google Play, which is blocked in China, there are other 400 Google Plays in China. So you have to deal with all of those. So the company deals with the largest 15 or 20 stores in China. It wasn't hard finding the first client. I validated the idea fairly fast. But what was hard was finding good employees to really run it. And we had a lot of turnover at the beginning. By now, we're doing very well. And we found the perfect people. But it took several years. It really took several years to do that. And for people who are digital nomads, then maybe you won't have employees all over. I mean, let's say a real employee, but maybe a virtual assistant. That's also hard to find. I struggle finding in other businesses that I have, finding the right virtual assistant. I now have somebody that I'm very happy with, but that takes time to find. That really, really, really takes time, and you get a lot of you get your business running right, but you also get a lot of quality of life for yourself and kind of being more calm with the business once you have this.
Yeah. Did you know, like, you can kind of like hand off? I know I've been there, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Versus like, like if you need, let's say take social media management for me, for instance, right? Like it's such a like relief when you know that you can just tell somebody, what you want, and they're just gonna go and do it, and you're not gonna have to worry about it. Like, oh, I wonder if they're gonna do it, if they're gonna do it right, or this and that. And then you just come back and it's done even better than like you would have ever done it personally. And then for the
Yes.
next time, you're just like, oh my God, it's just such a relief. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it. And I can actually focus on other things, that matter at that moment. So
Exactly. And it really took me a while to get to that feeling, and I'm happy I'm there.
yeah, good. So
Yeah.
good employees.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you get them? Do you find like some sites? Like, do you use like Fiverr or just Facebook, word of mouth? Where did you get some of those really good
So
resources?
the company in Beijing, we're locally hiring there. There is an office there, and there is a team there. And for a while, I was running it remotely, but not anymore. I have a partner there who runs it, so I'm not involved in the day-to-day anymore.
Yeah.
For free financial self for this business, I used I forgot the name of the website. There is a website for helping finding VAs in the Philippines. Chris Ducker recommends this one, or maybe it's his. I don't know. Onlineemployees.ph, or we can put this in the show notes. I know, I'm not sure. But what I've done is that I put an ad, and then I started getting, I don't know, I got probably between 100 to 150 people applying. And then I interviewed 3 of them, and then I found the right one. This is how it happened.
Yeah.
And even with the current one, it took a while to get into the rhythm and really trust him and work together.
And train. I feel training is really important because like what I find that people usually want to do, oh, just go do A, B, and C, and you just hand them off, and a person is like,
No,
okay.
it's not obvious. It's not
Yeah,
obvious. I started doing screencasts, really explaining what I want to do. These were the
yeah,
first things that I wanted. And then he can also refer to them every time when he's not sure.
yeah.
And it's also good for training the next person. So and now I don't use them as much, but just technically because he's already trained. But at the beginning, I used them a lot.
A lot. Yeah, I use them too, so they're great.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so wrapping up, I know we're coming to our half an hour, so time flies when you're
Ooh,
having fun.
that was fast.
But it did, right? It flew by fast.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell us like one of the books or one of the resources before we wrap it up that has really helped you either personally or professionally when you were just starting your business, something that folks can use as a reference that can really help them with their finances or anything
Mhm.
else that you care to share?
So there is a book called Your Money or Your Life. It's by two authors, and I don't remember the names of those. But if you Google or on Amazon, do Your Money or Your Life, you'll find it. Um, and this is about how to find that satisfaction in your finances, to know when is enough. Okay, when it's not over, it's not under, it's just right.
Mm-hmm.
This book actually started a movement called the FIRE movement, which is financial independence, retire early. And they didn't mean to start this movement, the people who wrote the book, but this is how it started. So this is kind of the Bible for that movement. I just read it recently, although I've heard about it for a long time, but I read it only a few months ago. I read it with a Hebrew translation. Don't read it at the Hebrew translation.
Okay, I will
Read the
try not
English.
to.
Read the English one. The translation is not that good, but the message there is very strong, and I totally recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll definitely check it out. And
Okay.
so I know you actually have something for the viewers that you want to share, where you can talk more about, what it is, but to help them basically, I believe it's like to figure out your net worth. Is
Right.
that's the case?
So,
Yeah.
so you asked me for
Yes.
something as a first step. And this is what I've mentioned before, and we spoke about something that I do on a monthly basis,
Mm-hmm.
usually the first week of the month, where I take all the numbers from the previous months and putting them on that Google sheet. And mine is very similar to this, where I calculate my net worth. And every month I know, and I also publish this on my blog, saying how much my net worth was up or down. And then I analyze it also publicly on my blog, saying what I think worked, what didn't. So
Oh,
this
you do?
helps me
I
get that
actually
view.
missed that. I would actually like to check that. You do that on a monthly basis, yeah?
Yeah. I have a net worth report on freefinancialself.com/blog. Yes, you can check that.
Oh, nice.
So if the listeners, the watchers, want to have that net worth tool, then they need to go to freefinancialself.com/travel tribe. /travel tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can get that report. They'll get it to their email. And that's a first step. That's a really important step to control your numbers. That will help them see where they're at, and assuming also that they know where they want to go. But that would start that
Yeah.
your finances moving.
Good. So I'm actually going to be posting this on Facebook. I'm going to tag you. So just in the comments below, if you want to, put any resources, the link, where they can actually go and put all of that. So they have everything at one place.
Sure, I'll add that. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Sounds good. Anything else you want to cover, Shlomo, that I haven't asked you? You think it's really important? No, we're wrapping up with time.
I just think that people should start now. I mean, it's never an urgent thing. Your finances are never an urgent thing, but really, really start now. So I share my resources on freefinancialself.com. Check it out, follow me, and I really, really, really love to chat with you guys. So get in touch.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
See you
much, Mia.
soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.